Again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earle-Sears?
There should never be nude men in locker rooms.
Oh, my goodness, we finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
Have you finally
My opponent
Ms. Earle-Sears,
said
you are
that
just
now?
intruding on
Are
time
we in
here.
agreement now? Are you
Ms.
going to
Earle-Sears,
tell?
this is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger. Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers and educators, are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community. And that is important. And I say that as a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
And as someone who used to investigate crimes against children. The way that we keep our children safe is by ensuring they are safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
Yes,
and my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community. It shouldn't be dictated by politicians.
So there's this gubernatorial race happening in Virginia between Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Earle-Sears. Abigail Spanberger is the typical white liberal female, the one that you can't pin down about anything. You just heard her there talking about that she can't, you just heard her there, not able to give a yes or no answer to a simple question, whether or not you want girls in the same bathroom as boys, a simple yes or no answer, but she can't give that answer because she's backed by the Human Rights Coalition and by the equity folks, the LGBTQ people. And so therefore she can't give an answer on that. So her non-answer gives you the answer that you need. But I want to talk about how in this race, you would think that you have a candidate for governor who's black, even though she wasn't necessarily born here, but she's quote unquote black. She's former military. She stands for school choice. She stands for economic opportunities. She stands for life. She stands for all of those things that typically conservative people stand for. But yet she's trailing Abigail Spanberger. And a big reason why she's trailing Abigail Spanberger is because she is not getting anywhere close to any type of support from the quote unquote community. The same community that talks about representation all the time. The same community that loves to hype up skin color. The same community that is always talking about black, 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 black. But yet when it comes to a black conservative running for governor who wants to implement policies that benefit the community, crickets. Or worse than that, they are going to side with a person that wants to implement programs that harm the community, implement programs that harm them. And I get it, because in the community, it is more identifiable to vote Democrat than it is to be black. Yeah, representation does not matter if that person that's doing the representation does not fit into certain categories. Namely, if that person is running for office, that person has to be a Democrat, regardless. I don't care who it is. It could be a person from the hood. It could be a person that they think is authentically black. If that person is running as a Republican, or even as an independent and not as a Democrat, that person will not get the support from the community because representation does not matter. It does not matter. That is a lie that has been fed to you. What matters is whether or not that person has a D behind their name when they're running for office.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running to
presumably for political reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
And it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Thank you.
I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly for the people of Virginia.
And that's why I'm asking my opponent, if your little girl comes home and said she was forced to undress in a locker room with a biological boy, what would you say? She's crying. What would you say? Are you not going to answer? I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Now, it's interesting that this race, for the most part, has not been getting national attention. But recently it has because of the incident with the Democrat running for Attorney General, Jay Jones, whose text messages surfaced where he was talking about unaliving a Republican in the state of Virginia and celebrating it, talking about unaliving his children. Just horrible things this man has said in his text message. But given that he's a Democrat, he's still able to run for office, and the Democrats are rallying behind him, and he has not stepped out of the race. It's also interesting because this past summer, there was a Karen, essentially, a white lady, older white lady, who was holding up a sign talking about Winsome Sears. And usually whenever there's racism from a white person to a black person, the usual suspects are out there talking about it all the time. They're quick to cape up for that victim. They didn't do that for Winsome Sears. It was crickets. So this was a sign that this lady held up. Hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. Look at that. A blatantly racist sign. But you didn't hear anything from the usual suspects, the race grifters and the race hustlers that are quick to jump on any sniff, any whiff of racism. They're quick to jump on it. Quick to jump on it. And then when we look at one of the latest polling results, you'll see right here, Spanberger's support is currently driven by Democratic voters, 98%, which is expected. Independents, 49 to 37. Black voters, 80% to 12%. 80% to 12%. And I can pretty much tell you, in addition to the fact that she's running as a Republican, she is an immigrant. And because she's an immigrant, she is not what they consider a foundational Black American, a FBA, or African descendant of slaves. So people will use that against her, black people, and they will not come out and support her. So she has that going against her, as well as the fact that she is a black conservative, black Republican, and that she is a black woman running as a Republican. Let's be real about it. That's why I say representation does not matter. Because as I mentioned on a video I made, I think last year, there are three main quote unquote gods in the black community. You got the God of blackness. That's the one that's preached every Sunday in these black liberation theology churches. The one that talk about black people are still oppressed. The ones that are tap dancing really for the Democratic Party. The ones that have Democratic candidates come up in their pulpits and preach. You have that group. You got the God of mammon, the ones that preach a gospel about wealth, getting it not biblical prosperity, but this prosperity that comes from a desire for earthly things. You got that going on. And then you got the God of the Democratic Party. The God of the Democratic Party actually trumps all three. Now, some people don't vote, so it doesn't necessarily apply to them. But for the ones that actually vote, it's the God of the Democratic Party that reigns supreme. The Democratic Party has done a great job, and the spirit that's behind that has done a great job of hoodwinking the community to the point that they will vote against their interests, especially the ones that call themselves Christians. They will vote against their interests. They will vote against a candidate that wants to increase flourishing in the community, and instead vote for a person that wants to take them back to a time when they weren't flourishing, that wants to put boys in their bathrooms, that wants to increase the unaliving of our young children, that wants to increase crime and increase lack of educational opportunities for the children. They will vote for that because that person is a Democrat. Let that sink in. That's how you know it's a mental stronghold that has to be broken. And the only way they can be broken is by recognizing who you are in Christ and breaking free from the shackles that have been placed on the community by the Democratic Party, the God of the Democratic Party. But let me know what you all think in the comments. Why do you think Winsome Sears is not getting the support from the black community like you think that she would if representation mattered? We're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.